Okay, so we are now live on Facebook. Today is the second day of our live Facebooks dedicated to entrepreneurship. We're doing it in English today. Yesterday was in French. Tomorrow we're doing it in Arabic, and we'll probably be doing it in Portuguese on Friday. We're very happy to have today with us Celine Hunter from Adie, she will tell us about herself and about her organization in a few seconds. But before we start, let me tell you a bit about your host. My name is Nathaniel Moll. I'm a volunteer at YEOB. YEOB is a federation of international nonprofits here in Montpellier. And we've been working, we've been creating a type of incubator here in Montpellier, an incubator for nonprofit organizations that are created by and run by newcomers here. So we help them develop their projects and their social impact. But we also have a very strong and very keen motivation to work with international entrepreneurs here in Montpellier. So we believe that it is kind of our duty to show the amazing work and intelligence and expertise and talent that is brought by international entrepreneurs here in Montpellier. And so we've created a few programs to support them. We have an international market that we organize every month where international entrepreneurs can come and sell their projects. We have also a boutique, a pop-up boutique where entrepreneurs can come and test their ideas for 2 months. And we also recently launched a tombola, a raffle, as we say in English, to basically showcase entrepreneurs and their skills and their products. So we are very happy to have you here, Celine, today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about you before we get
started.
Okay,
hi to everyone. So I'm Celine Hunter. I'm Franco-British, and I've been in France now for about 10 years, French mum and English dad. And I've now worked for Adie for about 4 months. So I'm still quite new to the job. And I am in the Perpignan branch. So I work with the Montpellier team, but I'm not located in Montpellier. So then, so I won't be the one who will, if you come and meet us, I won't be the one to meet you. You'll see all of my other colleagues.
Okay, well, we will probably also share this video in some groups where we have people in Perpignan as well. So who knows?
Oh, perfect.
It'd be interesting. What are the other cities in the region where Adie is?
In the Pyrénées-Orientales?
Yeah, Occitanie, for example.
In Occitanie, so we try and have, I don't know the English word, I've looked for it, for permanence, so it's working with other partners to be all over the department. So I try and go into the mountains as well. So some people, it's not comfortable to have someone on the phone, especially if they like oral French over the phone isn't the same. So it's easier to be able to communicate with someone. And then in Aude, we're in Narbonne, Carcassonne, and then Montpellier, the same. We have partners all around to try and go to people, except for COVID, obviously. But yeah, we try and be all over to answer to everyone's demands to meet us.
And so do you have people in Toulouse as well?
Yeah, we're all over France. We have quite a few people in Toulouse, and we try and be in all of the different neighborhoods. So yeah, we will probably have like 1 day a week in different neighborhoods to try and we're quite mobile.
That's great. That is very necessary. So tell us a little bit about Adie, about the story of your organization, because I think it's quite old. I think it's over 30 years or something.
Yeah, I think it was last
so it's been
year.
Around for a while now.
Yeah, Sorry? Last year I think was the 30 years old. Well, it was the 30-year anniversary. Yeah, so it's a non-profit organization that's been around for 31 years now, and so we defend. But like the philosophy behind Adie is that anyone who has who is accompanied by professionals can create their own business, so that's very important for us, especially for people who don't have access to loans with the bank. So we try and help them develop, either create or develop as well. We try and be here before, during, and after the creation of the business. Because obviously some people, if you're working alone, you don't have an accountant, you don't have a lawyer to turn to. So we try and be here with our volunteers throughout the whole duration of the business. So that's kind of why. Sorry.
Go ahead.
There's just a little décalage. So yeah, that's kind of the philosophy behind why we do what we do, and so we have different ways of working with all the different people that come to us, because we can have very small businesses and some people who have a few employees. So we adapt to the market, and we adapt to people who need our help, who can't find it in the classic bank system.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think this is something that we share. It's that idea that, it's not because you're a foreigner here in France and, you don't have an experience in creating a business here, or at all, actually. It doesn't mean that you cannot start your business here. So you're right. I mean, it's something that people are not necessarily aware of, but in France, there's a big support structure for business creators. And so there's a lot of organizations who are out there helping out people who have ideas, but also people who, before even they have ideas. So maybe before we start talking about Adie, we can talk a little bit about the different structures and organizations. You were telling me that earlier you were working with BGE. So there are a few organizations out there who are available to help people who want to start their businesses.
Yeah, and I think that's also a big part of our job as professionals, is to know exactly what everyone else is doing, so that whenever we don't have that expertise, or we don't, maybe the question is quite specific, we will be able to either contact the partner directly or give the partner's number, and so the person can turn to them as well. So that's a huge part of our work, is to be able to work coherently with all the other partners, to be able to answer everyone's different questions. So yeah, I used to work in another nonprofit, which is BGE, which isn't specialized in financing, it's just consultancy. So it's either individual coaching, or otherwise it will be courses of a week to about a few months, depending on the person's needs, depending on the person's project. And there's so many different nonprofits that exist. So yeah, we trying to adapt. Some are very specialized. For example, in Perpignan, where I am, it's quite rural around, and so we have nonprofits that are specialized in agriculture projects, because obviously it's quite specific in the way that you calculate your profit, etc. So yeah, some are very specialized, and if you come to us, that's also our role, to be able to send you to the appropriate partner, so you will be able to have something that's really personalized towards you and your needs.
Right. And so let's talk maybe a little bit about Adie. So a few years ago, when I first launched my career as an entrepreneur, I knew Adie as one of the rare, or the few structures in France to actually be able to do real microcredit, and so little did I know that you guys do way more than microcredit. So can you maybe tell us about the scope of your action?
Yeah, I think that's why Maria Novak, when she launched Adie in France 30 years ago, she realized that microfinancing, even though you wouldn't think that maybe in a developed country like France, microfinancing would be a tool, and she had to argue, to negotiate and explain how it was a very important vector for people to create their own businesses and to have access to microfinancing. But obviously, we don't just give out loans and then just let people go off with their businesses. We're here before to make sure that the loan is adapted to the person's project, to how much they can reimburse every month, how much stock they need, etc. And then helping them also with the after. Is having the financing is good, having their shop is great, but how then do you look for clients? How do you do all the admin stuff that a lot of people, especially people who have businesses, don't have time to do? So it's kind of like helping them go through all of this very foggy admin. And so yeah, that's also why we call it an accompanied microfinancing, is that we don't just give out financing as a bank would do. We really follow our clients even through years. And that's what's great about having volunteers, is it's people who have an expertise, who were business owners, who were bankers, and who want to give time back to new entrepreneurs and really help them. And they know they've gone through it. They know the difficulties and sometimes the isolation that is entrepreneurship. So they really are there to support people, which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's not a lot of people know this, but in France, creating a business is actually the easy part. I think it's more easy to create a business in France than in many other countries, but it's about keeping it alive, which is harder than in other countries. And it's very important that you have that support on the long term. Can you maybe go through it with us? How does that support actually happen? So you were mentioning volunteers. So at what time do the volunteers intervene, and at what time do you guys come in?
So the volunteers are still part of Adie. So I think it really depends on the person's needs when they come to us. It will be either a loan officer like myself or a volunteer that will receive the person. And after like an hour, a little diagnosis of seeing like where the person is at. Are they more the idea side of the project, or are they almost ready to sign a lease, etc.? And at that point we'll see, okay, what is adapted to the person. Are they looking more for very short-term advice, that's something that's quite quick because they have an opportunity, or maybe it's a bigger project and they need more time. And so either we will do it with a volunteer, either we will send over to another partner who has an expertise in longer durations and doing a business plan.
Yeah,
so it really depends.
And also you were mentioning also a partner who might be more focused into the topic the person is working on. If she's working on agriculture, for example, you
Exactly,
might
we're
recommend
more
it to another.
Yeah, we cater more to general businesses, but sometimes specifically we don't have the answers, and sometimes the entrepreneur doesn't have the answers either. They don't know if there's certain security rules that they have to follow, certain courses that they have to do. So at that point, yeah, we will definitely send to a partner, make sure they get that answer, and then they can obviously always come back to us, even if it's just for one question. Otherwise we will call the partner directly. But yeah, we try and have it's not linear the way that we will help someone. It really depends on what they need. And so the volunteer can come either at the beginning, before we actually do the loan, or otherwise it comes after, because the person at the beginning needs help with admin, doesn't know how to do their accounting and things like that. And then I have certain entrepreneurs who it's quite difficult. No one in their family has a business, and they don't really know who to turn to when they have questions. And so every month they get a phone call, and about an hour, and we'll kind of like go through all of their questions, kind of see where they're at, especially with COVID subsidies at the moment from the government, kind of seeing if they're entitled to anything. So yeah, it's very à la carte. It's very adapted to each person.
But I think that's also the key to success in many ways of you guys, because I mean, you might be able to give me a precise number there, but most of the entrepreneurs that you guys support financially pay back, are actually quite successful in paying back the loan that you guys give them to them. And it's mainly because you have that support structure behind this, and you guys are there to follow also on a monthly basis the project. So you can also adapt, I think, the loans depending on the person's structure, on the person's situation. You can also, I think, suspend the payment for a couple of months or something. Can you maybe tell us about how you can adapt? I mean, this is an important question, especially nowadays with COVID-19, where nothing is linear, especially for businesses. And so how do you guys adapt to the rough times that entrepreneurs go through?
it was almost systematic during COVID. So during lockdown, Adie nationally said, okay, if you're going through difficulties, we can push back that month. And so you don't pay for that month because you're not open, or you can't, that is a fee that's too much for you at that point. But it's not just through COVID. It can be, we have a lot of clients who sometimes they got a check through the mail from one of their clients, and the check didn't go through. It can be for all different reasons. Unfortunately, just accidents in life. Life happens. And so what we say, and we're very honest with our clients, we say, if you have any difficulties, just give us a call and we'll find a solution for you. We're not here to make things even more difficult. We just want to adapt. So yeah, we can either, because the monthly fee is too high, maybe you can lower it, or we can push it back a month or two. It really depends on what the person needs, if they have their rent to pay, etc. So yeah, we do try and find solutions with clients, and I think that's what makes our approach very human as well, is that we take into account everything, and we do try and keep communication open as much as we can, so we really understand the person's problems, because sometimes it's not just paying our loan, it's maybe they had a problem with admin, they had a problem with taxes, etc. So we'll try and really understand and see how we can help.
Yeah, it's speaking of loans, so how do you guys choose the projects you support or the projects you don't support? What are the criteria to select a project?
There's not one, or it's not fixed criteria. It will depend on the person's project, on their experience. So we'll take into account their past professional experience, what they did before, what courses they did, if it runs in their family, it's a family business. We'll take into account their project. So if it's something that can quite quickly generate revenue, or if it's going to take a few months to find clients, if it's professional clients, if it's non-professional clients, and then we'll take into account their financial state at the moment. So if they have a job, if they're welfare recipients. So we take, it's kind of a mix of everything, and at that point we say, okay, so for this business at this point, how much do you need to start with your stock, material? If it's the first, you're signing a lease and you need the first few months of rent, and at that point we'll say, okay, globally it's this much, but on a monthly basis you would have to reimburse this much. Is this adapted to your budget now? Are we taking into account future revenue from this business? So we're going to look at the entirety of the budget, and also monthly. And what's great at Adie is that we can progressively go higher in the loan. So I have clients who say, okay, the maximum you can give is 10,000, so I want 10,000, because they think that they have to ask for the maximum, and we'll kind of see. And I say to them, well, maybe we can start at 3,000-4,000, because what you're saying for the stock, etc., that's how much you need. And maybe in a few months, 3, 4, 5 months, you'll come back to us and say, okay, I have quite a few clients, business is going well, but I have an opportunity, I need to buy a bigger car, or I need to buy a bigger table, or whatever. And at that point we can up the financing and say, okay, we'll add an extra 3,000 to that, and see how much that is on a monthly basis. So we really do adapt to the person, and there's so many different projects, because it's going to be very different from someone selling on the markets to someone having a restaurant, either a food truck or having a building, an actual physical restaurant. So yeah, because we have so many different types of projects and entrepreneurs, we really adapt to the person. And we ask during the first meeting, we ask lots of questions. We just want to get to know you to get to know us, and kind of see, like, build a relationship, and try and get to know and be very transparent about their financing, about how we work, like how long it will take for them to get an answer.
Yeah. So how do people get in touch with you? Do they just come to your door? Do they call you? What's the way to reach you guys? What's the correct way to reach you guys?
the correct way, I'm not sure there's a correct way. Just the fact that you come and see us, like there will always be there someone to answer the door, which is great. So we have a website, which is first of all great. Even if you don't want to take contact with us, we have an online business plan tool. There's lots of different film seminars. So there's lots of different. I mean, there's a lot of information on there. So go ahead, go look. It's all free. So yeah, you can go through the website and ask for an appointment, and you'll see, depending on where you live, you'll see different the schedules of all the different loan officers. So you'll be able to take an appointment through the website. Otherwise, there's a national phone number which you can call. The same, they'll look at where you live, what's the closest branch to you, or otherwise you can call directly if you have the number to the loan officer. You can call us directly, and we'll give you an appointment.
So we have a question from Frederic de Mare on Facebook, who's asking us, would a micro entrepreneur, for example, be able to get a loan for a laptop? Is that the type of loans you would give?
Yeah, of course. Sorry. So about 90% of our clients are micro entrepreneurs, and it can be anything that's directly linked to your business. So obviously, if you're working on a laptop, that's your working tool. So it can be for that. Some entrepreneurs come to me because they have to move, because they need to repair their car, because they need stock. I mean, it's quite large. We don't have a certain category of loans that we give. We will really see like what you need to develop your business, or just because you are a business owner and you have difficulties, what those are and how we can help. So there's no one category for what loans we give out.
That is interesting. And by the way, what are the type of profiles that come to you? You know, what are we're talking about micro entrepreneurs here. So what type of businesses do they run, and you know, what is the majority maybe? What are
the majority are more shop owners, so either in restaurants, clothing shops, so all different grocery shops. That's not the English word, I think it's the American word, but grocery shops. So yeah, it's all different kind of commerce. And then we have a lot of people selling on markets as well. And we have more liberals, so people who do cleaning so they do it independently. People who do paysagistes, people who maintain like parks, things like that. Landscaping, thank you. Landscaping. What else do I have? It changes a lot. I have quite a few people who are doing nail technicians, beauticians. We have people who rent out bikes. I mean, honestly, like it's very varied, which that's what's great as well, is that we adapt to all different kind of projects. So I think the most of them are commerce, and the rest are more like independent workers.
And you were saying that a large part of the people who come and see you are also internationals, right?
Yeah, I think nationally it's about 25% of people who are born out of the EU. So yeah, we have a huge community of international entrepreneurs, which is why we have like Renatou, who was presenting yesterday. We have a special unit for people who don't speak French as well. So we have leaflets. Apparently, I think they're in the UOB, or soon to be in the UOB offices. So yeah, we do adapt to all types of entrepreneurs, and mostly because sometimes international entrepreneurs don't have access to a loan in the bank because they don't have EU or French citizenship. So that's not a barrier to us at all.
Yeah, and so we haven't talked about that yesterday, but I feel like it's important that we do talk about it. You've also signed a few partnerships with some organizations to be able to help people who are starting their businesses to buy delivery bikes. Is that something you're aware of? I mean, I read one of your flyers on the topic. It's a subvention, so it's like a, I don't know how you would translate that in English, but a government subsidy
Yeah.
that it's
Some funding, yeah.
government funding that people can add to their credit, to their microcredit with you guys, to buy a cargo bike, for example, to carry your supplies or whatever. Can you maybe develop a little bit about this
You're
opportunity?
lucky because I followed one of their seminars not long ago, so I know all the different types of bikes. But yeah, it's called My Cyclo Entreprise. And so it's to help people who want to build their business and who maybe who is adapted to have a bike. So there's all different. I think there's like 5 or 6 different types of bikes. There's even people who have who do pizzas, who have adapted like their oven to the bike, and people obviously who do deliveries, etc. So yeah, so it's really amazing. And so there's I think it's a 2 or 3 day course in Montpellier to kind of see if the bike is adapted to your project, to see how much it would cost, etc. So it's people the people who animate this course are people who are entrepreneurs who work on bikes. So yeah, it's amazing. And so yeah, we're because we have a partnership with them, we're able to have that government subsidy funding and to add a microloan if necessary. So yeah, we try and develop a lot of different partnerships nationwide. So we have with different insurance companies, online banking, we have with car repairs, all different things that can help our entrepreneurs, our clients have access to good services at an interesting price point.
Yeah, and I think that if my souvenir is correct, my memories are right, it's about like you can get a subsidy of about 1,800 euros, which sounds a lot, but it's it's not a lot because those cargoes are quite expensive. But you can also use them in addition to the other help that you might get from the mairie or the département or the région, right? So it can quickly reach, up to 3,000 euros, which is quite interesting, because those bikes are, 3,900, 4,000, even more sometimes. But it goes up to quite an important part of the bike. So it's an interesting opportunity for people out there who want to start their businesses using a bike. And I know that it's a huge added value nowadays in terms of communication, because you're green and you're also doing exercise.
Yeah, and they were giving the example of someone who's a plumber in the center of town. Obviously, if you can have a car, there's no problem. But by the time that you park, that you find the person's address, that you pay parking, that you pay the fine because you forgot to pay parking, and you have to go around all of the town parking at different people's houses, you'll maybe have three appointments in the morning, whereas when you have a bike, maybe you will limit your where you go to clients, your perimeter, but you'll have 5-6 clients in the morning just to do an invoice, things like that. So it's it's adapted to bigger cities as well, where sometimes you will have transport problems. So yeah, when they told us about all the different projects that you could do on bike, I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like I wouldn't have thought of it. So yeah, if ever you need transport and you think maybe you can do it on a bike, like go ahead and look, because there's some projects that are amazing, and because going green and those values are also really important to clients. So that can be an added argument as well.
Yeah, no, it's definitely very interesting. So in terms of the loans, we've talked a bit about the process to get them. So what's the minimum? What's the minimum? What's the average? And what's the maximum of the loans that you guys give out?
Okay, I think the minimum is 100 euros.
Okay.
And the maximum is 12,000. So, and I think on average it's about 4,000. So I do have clients that come to me who need 500 euros because they need to buy materials, they need to buy their stock to begin. And so I think it's good to know that the minimum is 100, because sometimes we'll kind of evaluate how much we need. And especially because we can do it progressively, it can be good as well to test first, especially if it's a new business, to try and test out a smaller stock and then go progressively from there. And so, yeah, we go up to 12,000, and sometimes it can go a bit higher, depending on, we have 0% interest rate loans, that are given by different organizations, government organizations. So it kind of depends on what's available. Obviously, with COVID, that does change a bit. But I think we can go up to 16,000 in certain cases. So, but yeah, we're on about 4,000 to 5,000 on average.
Right. And so what's the rates? I mean, because I think that Rihanna too yesterday in French was explaining that basically you guys are also borrowing the money from banks, and so you need to pay back the banks. So what is your rate? And maybe yeah, can you develop on that?
Yeah, so the interest rate is 7.45%, and Rihanna is right. So
Borrow.
en prête. Mince, comment on dit prêter?
We borrow.
We borrow, thank you, I didn't hear. So we borrow from the banks and then we have to repay, obviously. So there's that, the first bank interest rate, and then being a non-profit, all of our different fees, and the fact that the people before having financing help people now have financing. So in our economic model, that's why our interest rate is a bit higher than banks. But because we're looking at 4,000 to 5,000 euro loans, the interest rate isn't that high when you look at it like on a monthly basis. So that's something that we're very transparent about as well, when we kind of explain the cost of the loan right at the beginning, when we give out we give the paper out that shows how much you would be borrowing at the interest rate and how much it would be on a monthly basis.
Yeah, and I think that also if you couple that 0% interest lane to a 7%, and so interest rate, it kind of lowers the
yeah, it balances out to about 3.5, which is for a business loan, not that, because we often look at bank loans for real estate loans, which are very low at the moment, but for people who have businesses or even to buy a car, the interest rates are quite higher. So yeah, when we balance it out with a 0% interest rate loan, it kind of balances it out. So yeah, we try to, when we can, incorporate that kind of loan.
Okay, so we have a question from Jinto, who's asking if you guys just provide loans or you also invest in projects which are convincible to you. Is that something that has actually come up in your thought? I mean, it would be putting your money where your mouth is, you know.
Yeah, it would be. I had never heard of that. Thank you for that suggestion, because that's a great suggestion. Unfortunately, for now, we only give out loans, but why not? I mean, in 30 years, we've changed so many things, and we adapt to our clients and adapt to the environment. So why not be able to? That's a great suggestion. Why not be able to invest directly into the businesses that we believe in?
So if there's a very rich person who's listening up to this,
please contact me.
Please contact Adie, and let's get working on that fund. That investment fund. That would be an amazing project, and I would definitely follow that for sure. Celine, is there something, I mean, you would like to say to our listeners here and our viewers about Adie to conclude this presentation, which has been very rich? I've learned a lot about Adie, and actually it's cool because I've learned a lot yesterday and I'm still learning today. I can't wait for tomorrow. So is there something you would like to say to conclude maybe this presentation?
I think what's important is to not think that we have criteria and that there's a certain type of entrepreneur that we will finance. If you have an idea and if you believe in your idea, just come to us. Just come talk to us and we'll see what we can do, even if it's just advice, and kind of see how we can help you. Please, just we're friendly, come over, and I think that's why we all do this job, is that we love being able to talk to people. We love being able to see their ideas and to see them develop their ideas as well. And it's great when we're able to see entrepreneurs that we've financed. So please just come if you have an idea, even if it's just a question. Sometimes a lot of entrepreneurs they think it's a silly question. They think maybe they should know it. Just come over, and that's our job, and that's why we love to do what we do.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I actually just have one last question. which is an important question, but it's also related to the times we live in. I mean, it's a rough moment, right? And a lot of people, have, turned to entrepreneurship as a, like a life-saving measure in many ways. A lot of people lost their jobs and started their businesses, but a lot of them, some of them have been starting their business informally. So we have a lot of people who are doing their businesses informally. So what advice would you give these people to go legit, and why would you advise them to go legit in this time we live in?
Yeah, I have a lot of people, especially when there's a lot of cash involved, where there's not everything is declared. And I understand, like, especially if you're testing something out, it can be quite daunting to actually build your own business and do all the admin behind, and because it seems very official. So I understand that at the beginning, especially, it can be a bit intimidating. But for us, first and foremost, when we receive someone who's doing informal work, for us, it's a point that reassures us. It means that they have clients, that there is a market out there that is responding well, and that's why they've come to us. I think the fact that you want to declare your business maybe means you'd probably be able to develop a bit more. You'd feel more comfortable going towards more different markets. You'd be more comfortable calling different clients, etc. So I think that's one first argument. And the second is obviously being able to, as you said, like during COVID, there were government subsidies, but you had to prove that you had lost 50% of your revenue. But a lot of people didn't declare that revenue, so couldn't prove that they lost 50%. So I think that's also something that's important, to be able to pay taxes and pay for retirement, for social security, etc. So I think that it's something that's important, and it doesn't mean all of a sudden declaring everything. It can maybe be in steps. So that's also something that we're used to as well. And we have someone in Montpellier, Nordine, who's going to be presenting tomorrow, who is the referral for people who work informally. So that can also be someone to talk to about it and kind of see from their experience with other entrepreneurs how others did it. I think it's very important to be able to be part of a community with different entrepreneurs and be able to exchange on best practices and how they've navigated through French admin. So I think it's something that's important, and we're here not to judge or to give you the solution, but kind of like listen and see what's best for you.
Thank you very much. It's great. I think that a lot of people sometimes, especially foreigners here, who have to go through such horrible administrative processes, sometimes feel like if they go legit on a business, it will be even worse than what they had to go through for their visa or whatever. And it is not worse. It is not. It is not necessarily easy, but it's worth it, to be honest. Especially in the times we live in. You were mentioning the COVID relief that was based on what people declared. I think that a lot of people probably wished in those times they had declared more in the past. But yeah, it's important to do so, and then it opens you up to a whole bunch of opportunities in terms of support. There's also a lot of subsidies, a lot of funding that exists for entrepreneurs out there. So it's something that you will be able to benefit only if you go legit. And yes, Celine, thank you very much for this chat. It was very interesting. So hold on, we have Soham here who has asked if it's a 0% interest on the loan. So Soham, you can go watch back the video. We've answered that question. It's not totally 0%, but we have a good answer for you if you watch the video. And also that video will be available for as long as you want, so you can rewatch it, watch it again. We're also gonna be producing a blog post in various languages where we'll be sharing with you guys all the tips, all the ideas, all the links that we've talked about during all the 3 days, all the 4 days of conversation with Adie. So you will be able to access all that information afterwards on our website, eob.eu. And obviously in the comments below, we have our friend Ludovic, who's the director of Occitanie Littoral, who has been sharing with you links that you can access. He's also been answering some of your questions. So thank you, Ludovic. And thank you guys for listening to us today. It was very interesting. Thank you, Celine. And tomorrow we're doing the same live interview, but it's going to be in Arabic this time, and it's going to be hosted by our friends from Kantara, Occitanie, which is a Franco-Syrian association here. The Syrians in Montpellier are amazing entrepreneurs. It's quite impressive to see how far they've gone. I mean, most of them, I've known them for 5-6 years now, and I know at least 5 or 6 businesses that they started. So they're very interested in whatever Adie has to propose, and I think it will be very interesting to tune in tomorrow. So it's going to be in French and Arabic. Because Nourdine, whom Celine mentioned earlier, speaks French and a little Arabic. So it's going to be mostly in French and Arabic. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a great night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Celine.